Hello everybody, my name's Big Citrus and let's get into it. There have been some videos on this channel that I really wanted to make. It was a passion project and there were many things I had to say. No matter how the video performed, I just wanted to make the video and put it out. There have been some videos that I was indifferent towards making where I just didn't really care necessarily how it performed, and I figured I'd make the video because it was a good idea. And then there have been some, very few videos that I really didn't want to make, and I was mainly just doing it for views and clicks and blah blah blah. But I had no passion in making the video. My heart was not in it. This video might be the first video that I really feel like I have to make, because I've noticed that a lot of people have been stuck in the exact same addicted grind loop that I have been for the past, well, I don't know, 7 years of my life, and that is competitive PvP video games. I am not going to beat around the bush in this video due to many controversies, horrible game design decisions, and just a general cultural shift. Competitive video games are probably at the worst state they have ever been in a long time. I feel like in a lot of videos that I made like this, I do this great big grand intro where I set things up and everything, and I'm not going to do that today. I've kind of said my piece, and I know a lot of people are here to see why I think competitive gaming is dead, the facts behind it, is that true at all, and what games competitive scenes are dead and how did they die. And don't worry, I'm gonna go into all of that. All I ask before I dive straight in for once, maybe you leave a comment, tell me how your day was, tell me your opinions on this video after it's ended, and if you did really enjoy this, a subscribe and you following one of the links in the description would mean more to me than you'll ever know. And let's get into it. Timestamps are going to be included for every single section in this video that you might want to see. If you want to see why a specific game is dead, it's in the time description. If you want to see the facts, or if you want to see my specific opinion, or you want to see the reason, that's all going to be in the timestamps below. So there you go. I'm going to say a fair amount of controversial things in this video, and just know that I do not mean to offend anyone personally. This is all just genuinely what I think and what I feel and what I know. First off, I just want to directly address the people who say this video is going to be opinionated. There are so many legitimate sources that state that all esports organizations have been down, and basically anyone who is running an esports organization or owns an esports team is currently losing money. I can think of a lot of specific instances, like for example, Overwatch not being able to be a game that's actually played in China has removed the existence of Overwatch League's viewership in China, which accounted for basically, oh, I don't know, like 90% of Overwatch League's viewership. Look at the amount of games and companies that have been cutting teams from the esports organizations, so there's overall less competitors, less matches, overall less money spent. Apex has done it, Overwatch has done it as well. I bet there's a bunch of other game series doing it too. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying to themselves right now, what the hell, Big Citrus? You said this was competitive PvP gaming is dead. I don't necessarily care about esports. Trust me. I mean, even outside of esports, a lot of these competitive games are dead due to a number of reasons, but I will get into the reasons that the competitive mode for the casual player is dead later. I'm going to focus on the esports bit just for now. The things I just mentioned are all happening though because esports is not profitable. When you're spending this much money on production design and production value and players and being able to broadcast the game, you know, in good resolution to so many people and get it on TV and everything, and of course advertising the brand, that's a lot of money. That costs millions of dollars. Millions. And even if it's good for, you know, generating and talk about the game for people who are interested in esports, even if it's good for keeping the game alive and keeping it feeling fresh with like esports player skins in the game and everything, and esports like events in the game, at the end of the day, major shareholders and people at the top of all these companies are only going to care about the teensy small percentage chance to make a teensy small bit amount of more of money. And if eliminating overall support for esports or just cutting a division together is what's going to get that, then that's what's going to happen. A lot of people don't want to admit this, but the casual gamer does not care that much about esports. I have a lot of casual gamer friends, and the truth is they don't really care for esports and they don't really watch them. And even myself, who considers myself super hardcore into competitive, you know, PvP games, especially FPS games and everything, I myself do not find myself watching esports that often. The only game I ever really got into watching the esports for was Apex, and that was when I was uber interested in the game, and ever since I stopped playing it, I have not, watched it or looked at it once. There's a lot of people who love the, drama with pro players and everything that can happen, but that's also kind of another reason that esports orgs are dying, is because it turns out that when you take someone who spent a lot of their time perfecting their craft, playing hundreds of hours, every week on a single game, and you give them a contract for $1 million, and then they get a huge whiff of fame and attention, and it turns out that a lot of them reveal themselves to be pretty shitty people at their core, and you gotta drop a lot of people, and you gotta fire a lot of people, and that creates drama, that creates distrust in a brand, and resentment towards company that started the division and benched this player or suspended them. Also, esports had a big boom during the COVID pandemic and everything, when everyone was locked in their homes. A lot of people just got into gaming in general, and people got huge into esports, and the truth is a lot of these companies took the money they made from esports and they invested it back into esports, and now they're not seeing a return on those profits because viewership is down, because people don't have the time to watch it, or they found new interest. And maybe the reason that a lot of people don't care about esports as much as they used to a few years ago is because the game's competitive modes themselves and the games themselves have ultimately decreased in quality and aren't as good or fun anymore. I'm gonna anger a lot of people, and I'm not gonna lie, some of this is pretty hard for me to admit myself, but it has to be said. This is just a minor PSA. If you're someone like me who used to grind competitive games thinking that you were going to be the next Shroud or somebody, just a super ultra cracked gamer who was going to make a career out of esports, if you really want it that badly, there are millions of other people who are just like you. You're going to have to grind literally 10 hours every single day, unless you're just naturally super talented on these games, to compete with all of these players, and you're going to have to stream a lot. You're gonna have to do little tournaments a lot. You're gonna have to work your way up. I know this because I have been there. It is so hard to break into the industry now, and if that's really what you want to do, then fuck it. Go ahead, go crazy, put your heart and soul into it. I believe in you, but just know you might not end up ever getting there, and you might look back at that time as something as a complete waste when you could have been doing so much else with your life. No one's gonna remember those gaming achievements. No one's gonna remember that sick 5-man kill you got. It's not gonna help you get a job. It's not gonna make you $1 million. And ultimately, it's not really gonna mean much to you when you're older. That was a loop I got stuck into. I still play these games because I love the experience. I love the grind. I love the fun, but I don't sink nearly as much time into them as I used to. Sorry for that little tangent. A big part of that, and the big part of me here having that realization, is a lot of these games just got significantly worse. I'm gonna go over basically every single game that's really popular right now, starting with the game that I get asked the most about. Thing is, I genuinely really love Overwatch. I love Overwatch 2. I think it's great. I think it is actually a huge improvement on Overwatch 1 gameplay-wise, which in its later years of life basically was turning into an MMO MOBA-style game that occasionally had moments of first-person shooting and team synergy epicness that you got in the earlier days of Overwatch 1. It turned into a game that I didn't really like, and a lot of people agreed with me. I find it funny that so many people now defend Overwatch 1 and act like Overwatch 2 is such a big downgrade and everything, because it's like, where were you people during the last few years of Overwatch 1's life? You clearly didn't like it that much. All the people asking to bring 2CP or old Orisa or old Bastion back, what the fuck is wrong with you? What kind of potato goddamn brain dead game were you playing? We just must not operate on the same wavelengths, because I will never understand why you found any of that shit fun. But regardless, Blizzard did alienate die-hard Overwatch 1 fans with the new game, and a lot of people don't like that the game is a lot more skill-based now. Hit scan and sniper characters dominate a lot more in the current meta, and of course, there's not 2 tanks anymore. When you're playing as tank, your performance is so much more important now. If there's a match and there's a huge tank differential, one tank's just doing way better than the other one, the whole lobby can tell. From bronze to top 500, that is how it is. The truth is, though, the main reason a lot of people have gotten tired of Overwatch is a lot of people were committing time to this game, getting better at it, because they were really looking forward to the PvE content that was coming. Now, my point is, it's still coming, even though we are no longer getting the skill trees individually for each character, in it, which I honestly do agree would have been cool. It's a disappointment. disappointment. And Blizzard needs a better marketing team because that situation was handled very poorly. I've already covered this all in a previous video. But regardless, people think PvE is canceled. People think they scrapped the entire reason that Overwatch 2 apparently was existing in the first place. And there's just a bunch of other stuff that's been delayed and canceled, and people just aren't happy. Overwatch 2 is currently a laughingstock of the internet. Yes, it's mostly due to misinformation being, spread and everything, and a bunch of huge content creators, publications, and streamers misrepresenting the situation so they can get a couple extra clicks. But hey, that's how the internet works. I'm not mad at it. It's a bit annoying, but I'm not mad at it. Because of those reasons, in Overwatch 2 losing a lot of the diehard fans, the truth is the competitive mode right now is in a horrible place. No one really wants to grind. People are saying the rank is inflated, and it's super easier for people who are bad players to get a higher rank if they just get carried now. It's become a bit of a joke. Everything doesn't feel as serious anymore as a game, and the overall sentimentality around the game is that it was a huge giant microtransaction update and a scam. So I think those people just aren't so hot in Overwatch right now. I'm just gonna lump like COD multiplayer and Warzone into the same section here, because who the fuck watches like Warzone Esports? Like who gives a fuck about like arcade shooter PUBG Battle Royale? Also, who gives a fuck about COD multiplayer esports? I know I'm gonna anger a lot of people with this, but the truth is Call of Duty is a very simplistic game at its core. It is movement, reaction times, and very minor amounts of game sense. Compared to basically every other competitive game that's been in the market for the past like 3 years, it is trivial. It is for babies. Honestly, the biggest reasons that COD multiplayer is an esport is just something that people are interested right now is because, let's be real, no one cares about Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. Well, let's not even talk about Warzone. No one cares about that. No one cares about Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. The only people who are playing Modern Warfare 2 right now are people who've been playing every Call of Duty game as it came out for a year straight until the new one came out for the last 15 years of their life. That is the only people who play Call of Duty multiplayer right now. It is addicts. It is heroin and crack addicts. I don't think there should have been an esports scene on this game to begin with, so I don't even think I can call it dead, because the Call of Duty esports scene to begin with, in my opinion, was trash. I'm not disrespecting the players. I know a lot of them put a lot of time in, and they're really good, but the truth is, if there's any game you're gonna watch an esport for, it's not gonna be Call of Duty. Just go Google someone's like no commentary random search and destroy match on YouTube and then commentate over it. You can upload it and pretend it's like a Call of Duty esport level match and no one will know the difference. Apex Legends is a game that, realistically speaking, should be like the fucking biggest game on planet Earth. It's free to play. It's a battle royale. It's made by EA, which is a brand that literally everyone knows. Every character is like pretty simple to play. It has a very unique style compared to other games nowadays, but still looks very modern. A lot of characters and locations are instantly recognizable and iconic. And of course, the core gameplay mechanics with the sliding, the movement, the wall bouncing, the strafing, hitting someone for 110 in the head with the peacekeepers you're sliding by, immediately swapping to a sniper rifle, flying up into the air and headshotting someone with a sniper, using your abilities to get out of a very high intense situation and pop a shield battery behind a door as the enemies are trying to break in from the other side and you 1v3 them. It's such an intense feeling great game, yet it is run by some of the biggest dumbasses you will ever see. And I'm not just blaming EA. No. Respawn's had it too good for too long. I hate when everyone tries to protect every fucking developer at Respawn Entertainment saying, oh, it's just big bad EA making all these decisions about the game. No, let's be real. Respawn has enough creative control for a lot of the things that have been implemented into the game to not have been implemented. I'm not gonna go into tangents. I've talked about this shit in other videos. But like, why is aim assist not been nerfed? I don't want to fucking hear about the aim assist debate anymore. That shit needs to just end. Like, more than like over 50% of all pro players who used to play on PC on Apex have swapped to controller because it's better, it's more consistent, and it takes way less effort. Yeah, sure, the best keyboard and mouse player will be better than the best in the world controller player, but do you know how much hours and how much effort it took the best keyboard and mouse player to get there versus like an okay controller player that can compete with them? The truth is, aim assist does the most important thing for you, which is almost instantly locking you on to a target in close range in Apex, and 80% of the fights in Apex are close range, and those are the fights that definitely matter the most. and are the hardest to win. On top of that, character balance in Apex has been horrible. Seer and Valkyrie have been nerfed 100 times, yet are still incredibly popular picks in the meta. They keep buffing and nerfing different guns, but the only ones that actually matter are the ones with the highest DPS, because once you master the recoil control for them, or you're playing on controller, you can just beam people as long as you got the best guns, the best attachments, and everything. Let's not talk about the horrible rank changes where hold on. There is like, I think over 200,000 players in Masters rank on Apex Legends, when Masters used to be like the top 5 percentile of Apex Legends. Now, Diamond and above is almost like, what, a third of the player base? I don't fucking know. It's a ridiculous amount. Ranked is a joke right now. Anyone can get any rank they want. And the way that you earn points now is basically kind of completely the antithesis of how a ranked mode should work, where you get significantly more participation points than you do, like, for actually doing good. It doesn't make any sense. Also, the game barely adds any fucking content. What have we got in the past 2 years? 2 maps, 3 or 4 characters, a few new guns. I'm sorry, if you really want to keep the game refreshed, you need to be adding actually game-changing LTMs, not shit like Gun Run, actually game-changing events that are not collection events. No, please. No collection events. Give us some more unique challenges. Give us some more lore dumps. The casual fans love that shit. Apex Legends consistently refuses to listen to its players, and the grind has gotten stale for a lot of people, despite how amazing the game is and how amazing it could and should be. The ranked in that game is a complete joke right now, and basically every pro in the esports scene is feeling it, and a lot of them have been considering leaving for a while. CSGO's esports scene has been doing, like, fine. CSGO 2 had a massive, ginormous debut, and then just, like, immediately, like, no one really cares about it as much anymore. I'm sure that numbers and performance will go back up when it is actually out. CSGO Esports is actually one of those scenes that is very interesting to look at, because it's managed to survive and be popular for a long time, even when the game has had not great player numbers and engagement. CSGO 2 has cultivated a die-hard cult audience, and I imagine it will keep it for a number of years. But I just don't even think with the release of CSGO 2 that it will ever go back to being as big as it could have been, especially now that it has such a large competitor in Valorant. Alright, I'm sorry, I can't watch League of Legends Esports. What the fuck is any of this? This shit is only popular in China, and you cannot convince me otherwise. It's actually really sad. Fortnite Esports used to be the pinnacle of esports, in my opinion. I'm not even joking. It was booming. It was a game that was very easy for people who didn't even play video games to watch and understand what was going on. It was very marketable to children, and it helped that it was actually built to be a competitive game. Building was the main mechanic of the game, and it was by far the thing that took the most skill. There weren't as many game-breaking items in the game that destroyed buildings in half a second and could insta-kill enemies. It was mainly just about having a shotgun or a sniper and being able to have fast reaction times, flicking onto someone, and being able to build and have game sense and outthink your opponent. It was fun as fuck, and now it is basically Roblox Battle Royale. Still kind of fun though, I guess. You know, I hate to say it, but more and more Valorant is winning me over to its good side. At least Riot Games tries a decent amount to, you know, treat the competitive mode in the game like an actual competitive mode, giving you a fair amount of chances to dodge matches and forgiveness for, you know, disconnecting and not losing all of your R. The game will actually rank you up 2 ranks at once if you're actually doing really well in consecutive matches. Also, there's just significantly more ranked rewards for that game than most other games are offering. And yes, the game is not perfect, but it does feel the most competitive base. And I hate to say it, but as an esport, Valorant's doing pretty well right now. Riot Games seems like really the only company that is able to pin down exactly how to take a strictly competitive focused game and market it to a wide audience. I can't see Valorant esports being as popular as the Overwatch League at its peak, but hey, who knows where we'll be in a few years. It's really unfortunate that all these other games have gone to shit and I'm having to say good things about fucking Valorant. The truth is, I think competitive games in general are just not doing as well anymore. A lot of people I know, including myself, have been playing a lot more single player games recently. The majority of people who play, competitive games specifically nowadays are so toxic. Everyone tries to do the same 3 or 4, clips or tips and tricks videos they see on TikTok, and it's annoying and it's frustrating, and I know everyone knows what I'm talking about. You'll see someone in your game and they're trying to hit the baby Gronka gritty in Walmart while vape dabbing, like fucking, you guys know what I'm talking about, I hope. And I just think that a lot of people have been burnt out because competitive PvP games with esports scenes have been the big thing for the past like 5 years, and I think people are starting to get a little burnt out of it, including myself. Also, smurfing is a huge problem in literally every game. All of these games are free to play. Making a Smurf account is really easy. In every game except for Overwatch 2, where you have to have like a phone number and link to it and everything, you can just make a new account for free, make a new email, whatever, and make a new account and just level it up, and boom, splickety boom, you are ready to play. A lot of people who are kind of like slightly more hardcore than a casual gamer are in gold or platinum ranks, and that's where the majority of Smurfs in every game is found, because they're boosting their shit friend who used to be in bronze or silver, and they're slowly climbing their way through the ranks, or they're just playing on an alt account and they're good enough to just get placed in gold or plat easily, because basically on all these games you can get gold or platinum pretty easily if you're like a pretty above average player. And I would know this because I'm one of those pieces of shit who has like fucking 3 alt accounts for like all of these games. That also comes with the fact that a lot of games are so much more stricter on how many friends you can queue with at a time, depending on what rank you are. And of course, rank disparity, what friends you can queue with when they're like outside of your skill zone. And that leads to more smurfing. I feel like balancing teams should be easier, but a lot of games really struggle with it. These reasons overall, I think, are just leading to these games just not being as popular anymore. And further, for that reason, esports for these games just being completely fucking dead. So there you have it. I went over basically all of the major competitive esports games that even remotely matter, and I think I've done a pretty okay-ish, amateurish job at dissecting why a lot of them are not nearly as popular as they are right now. But I think if I had to link all of the things I've said in this video to one thing, I think it would just be that getting invested in something is kind of not a thing people do anymore. It's a bit of a cultural shift. New video game releases will be insanely popular for like 3 to 4 days and will immediately fall off the face of the earth and never be talked about ever again. This goes for movies and TV shows as well. In order to keep people's attention and keep you talking about them and keep people talking about you or it for more than like 2 months, you have to be something that is so resonating with people or just so spectacular that it like can't even be compared to anything else. You have to be an elitist at what you're trying to do. And I hate to say it, but a lot of these games that I have been playing recently don't really do that for me anymore. And yes, I know some people will comment, and it is true. A lot of this is because I'm getting older. We're all getting older. I think we start to realize that grinding for, a shinier symbol in a game doesn't really matter if we're not ever going to like make money off of this or be the best, because what are we doing it for? Bragging rights? Sure, that's fun, but there's so much other shit we could be doing with our time. I'll never stop playing competitive PvP video games, and I'll never stop making content on those games when I have something interesting to talk about on this channel. But the truth is, there are only so many ways that you can form new sentences together before it feels like you've run out of words and interesting ways to put them next to each other. And that's how I feel. I've talked about the life and death of many of these games and how I feel about them over the course of the past few years. And the truth is, does it really matter? If you like the game, just play it. Have fun. Don't get super invested in it when it's not that big of a deal if it's not something that you're choosing as like a career path. Truth is, a lot of these game developers have been slacking hard recently, and it's just not something that honestly interests me that much anymore. I've been having a lot more fun playing through this kind of games I used to play when I was a kid. Games like Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, games like Elden Ring, games like Diablo 4. These are the games I want to see become popular right now, while hopefully these competitive PvP games and these esports titles take time to get better. I actually really do genuinely want to know everyone's thoughts on this one. It's been kind of a hard time for me on the channel recently, so if you made it all the way to the end, please let me know in the comments and let me know your genuine thoughts. Even if you disagree with me, I would love to hear what you have to say, because I just like hearing people's opinions. And if you want to see my totally, inside of informative tweets and amazing Instagram posts, follow that stuff below. And if you want to truly expand your ears with some real music, trust me, some people like it. Spotify's in the description. And if you want to interact with my amazing community Discord is in the description as well. If you were to follow just any one of those or subscribe if you're not already, it would genuinely make my day. I've been Big Citrus, and have a damn good one.